Good morning, good morning. It's me, Kae Pea. I'm here in my studio, the Moon and the Maker, home of RubberMoon art stamps, and I'm here for Stamp Down to Christmas. I just put on the title day something because I think it's day 9, but I can't remember. You'd think I could keep it straight, but I can't. So I do want to say welcome to day something. I'm really excited because one of my best friends in the whole entire world is here visiting. You know her as Barb Rogers, but she recently got married in Italy, and her name is now Barb Daniel. But you can still find her on Facebook as Barb Rogers Daniel. She's here in the studio with me, but she decided to refrain from getting makey. She's just going to watch. And then I'm going to try to convince her to come on Let's Get Makey Premium on Sunday morning before she leaves and do a little makey with me. I'm still working on her, though. But anyway, good morning, Libby. How are you? So today, of course, since Barb is in the house, I wanted to work with Barb stamps. And I'm doing a little bit more than just coloring one image, but not too much. It's still pretty simple. What I thought would be really fun is to sort of do a creation in Barb's style. So for many of you who have followed Barb's art journey, she does a lot of she does a variety of things, but she at one time did a lot of trailer, cute, whimsical trailers, and a bunch of different themes with trailers. So she had Christmas trailers and Valentine's trailers and different wedding trailers, just really awesome. Anyway, we at one time years ago did kind of a lot of artwork together. So it was really cool because I sort of watched her style really develop. And this is sort of her signature. She likes to paint overs. Remember the other day when we did Joni's stamp, I did a paint over of a book page. So just an old book page like that. But on this one, I decided to do something a little bit different and do it over a map page. So that's just a little variation. So what I've done, and I'm going to go ahead and show you. Well, so Barb, I guess I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Barb last winter did a series of stamps, and she did this awesome truck. What's this truck called again? Is there a certain kind? I don't know. Old truck. Yeah, old truck, vintage truck. And she did a bunch of different things that could go in the back. So one of them is a Christmas tree or a tree. And then I stamped out some of the other ones. So you do have the little florals. So you could have a bed full of flowers. You could have a bed full of pumpkins, truck that is, and a bed of stars and a moon of the fruit. And then she has a couple little signs. Okay, you have the Noel Farm sign or a little blank sign that you can put on the side of the truck. So the blank one, if you were obviously carrying the flowers, you could put flowers. Kind of goes without saying. Anyway, so that is a really fun series, and I haven't broken it out for a while, and so I thought it would be fun to color this way. So let me stop for a second and say good morning to Cheryl and Jan and Libby. Thanks for being here. And I know there's some of you that might be watching that don't pop up where I can see that you're here. So if I missed you somehow, I apologize, but I always am excited for you to be here. Anyway, so I started with a little canvas. This is a 3x5 canvas panel. I went ahead and I just took some of my PVA glue and I spread it around kind of generously, although I don't want it super thick to where it's going to ooze out the sides, but I do want it coating the entire canvas, and I want to make sure that it's really getting up to the edges. So I use my finger to apply it, and I really want to get in all of the little sort of nooks and crannies of the canvas, and especially on those edges. Now, if I have too much, because again, I don't want it real gushy, I know that's very technical, then I will wipe a lot of it away and just, you know, kind of remove some of that. Okay. And you can also, if you have a little bit too much and you're just going to waste it anyway, you can take your book page or your map page and you can actually kind of spread it around so that you get sort of that double bond. Anyway, all right, so that's good enough. I'm going to go ahead and just pop this right down on here. And then, of course, you can, if you want to heat set that just a little bit, or not really heat set it, but, you know, dry it. That's great. But I'm going to take my art file now, and I'm just going to file away those edges. I didn't get it on here very straight, but that's okay. A lot of it's going to end up being covered up anyway. Remember, when you're doing this, you want to file it down and away from yourself. All right. So, and like I said, I didn't do a very good job. A lot of times if you want to, if you're using a map or a book page, you know, you might want to sort of lay it out how you think would look the best, or if you have like an area, a city, a state, or some words that you specifically want on there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of white gesso, and I'm going to knock it back just a little bit, because even though I do want my map showing through, I don't necessarily want, you know, so much of the color or the words or the detail to necessarily show through. So I'm just gonna like I said, just a kind of a thin coat of gesso and knock back some of that. All right, and then of course I would let that dry. I went ahead and I stamped my truck in a Moonlight Duo color. This is Aurora Teal, and I actually used sort of my tinted side. I didn't want it to be real dark, and then I went ahead and made myself a mask. Okay, so I stamped it in sort of this slate. It turns it sort of into more of a slate blue, and I I cut myself a mask out of a Post-it note. Okay. I like to use Post-it notes because you have a little bit of a sticky part on there and it will stay down. And then I stamped my tree into the bed of the truck using my Space Moss Moonlight Duo. And I do want to mention, for those of you watching today, we are running the 12 Days of Christmas, and today is day 2. Yesterday we launched Joni Hallmark's brand new stamps, and today it is, if you buy 2 Moonlight Duos, you get 1 free, whatever colors of your choosing. So you would buy 2 Moonlight Duos, and you would just use the code DUOS, DUOS, to receive your free Moonlight Duo pad. Okay. So anyway, I went ahead, I masked off my truck, I stamped that in there. And then I went ahead also and I stamped my little Noel Farms right on the door. All right, over here I have on this little silicone pad, I have some of my fluid acrylics squeezed out. And I just have a few colors. I have a white, I have a sap green, a green gold, which I just squeezed on here. And then I have a Payne's gray. And then this is another color of blue, and it's actually not it's fluid acrylic. It's heavy body, although I just don't have it in the fluid acrylic. So, and I wanted that color, so I'm going to actually just do a little color mixing, because what I'm going to try to do is I want to actually mix a blue that is very similar to the blue that I stamped there. And right now, honestly, I'm just looking for a brush because I don't know what brush that I want to use. You'd think I have loads of brushes, but I never can seem to find just the right one. Sort of eluding me right now. All right. So I'm mixing up a little bit of that cerulean blue with my white. And I feel like I'm also going to need just the tiniest bit of red. So again, the reason I chose to go ahead and color my stamp this way is because I'm working in a Barb Rogers style. So I hope I can do it justice. I'm just going to go in and start to paint in. And again, this is the first time I think I've used acrylic paint for coloring in an image during our stamp down. So it's kind of fun. And like I said, just repeating myself, but I am sort of trying to color match a little bit to my outside line. So meaning the line that I stamped in, I sort of want to not necessarily match it, but I want to get close. Again, this will kind of give me a look where it doesn't look too stampy. And sometimes if you feel like your paint isn't really moving, you know, you can add just a little bit of water to it just to make it a little more workable. And you know, I think I want to pull out a little bit of gray. Well, I have some Payne's gray here, which if you're familiar with golden paint, the Payne's gray in their acrylic is has a lot more blue to it. It's not like a real gray, true, what you would think of as a gray. It's almost like an indigo. So a lot of times if I want a true gray, you know, I'll do a little, either use one of their actual neutral grays, or I will mix my own with a little bit of black and white. I actually want more of a true gray, so I'm just pulling out a little tiny bit of my gray gesso here. And that'll be nice to sort of do some of the little details. And instead of like what you would think of as chrome or silver, I'm just filling in with a little bit of gray. And of course, I'm feeling like I might need a tiniest bit of yellow. And again, just to mix up with a little white for that front little headlight. I don't want it to be super yellow yellow, but just sort of a muted version of yellow. And of course, I'm feeling some green and red for the Noel Farm sign. A little bit of black for the tires. And you know, it's just funny because as I'm going, I'm thinking, oh, I only need like 3 or 4 colors. And then I'm like, oops, nope. But at least it's not a lot. It's just a little. And I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that darkest blue and give a little, I don't know, little deeper values in some of these spots, just where some of the lines meet up. Right, now we'll work on the tree. And oh, and I feel like the little Noel Farm sign does need some, maybe some little dots, but I'm going to do those with the end of my brush instead of trying to do it with my actual brush. I feel like maybe it should be a little lowered. I don't know. Do you feel like it's a little too far away? I'm kind of looking in the screen thinking that that's sort of small. So I hope you can see okay. So remember, if you wanted to use like colored pencil for this technique instead, you could do everything the exact same way. You would just want to let your gesso dry really, really well, and you could definitely do a colored pencil rendition of the same exact, with the same technique and everything pretty much. I'm just mixing in I just used a sap green, and now I'm just mixing in a little bit of green gold. And of course, if you wanted to make it look like it had snow on it, you could easily incorporate a little bit of white paint or a white paint marker. Again, sort of just keep playing with it and moving your brush through there, and you can get some nice texture. And then, of course, I still need a little bit of maybe some like Van Dyke Brown or I have some burnt umber light. That will be great for the trunk. And remember, again, I will just remind you that on every bottle or jar of golden, there's 3 black bars. Each label is hand painted with a swatch of color over the top of that of those bars, and that is what shows you the opacity of the hue. Okay, it'll show you if you can sort of see those black bars through it. That means that it's a transparent or translucent color, and so that it's very handy to know as you're painting. So if you want to build it up to be a little bit more opaque, you'll have to use more layers, and if you like it to be sort of transparent like that, then that's great. And so now, of course, you know, it's pretty much ready to go. I would still give myself sort of a horizon line or do some sort of wash across the bottom just to give it a little bit of something substantial to, you know, so my truck isn't floating in midair. So even, let's say, a little simple wash of like this burnt umber light. And then, you know, if you had some kind of sentiment that you wanted to also add, you could stamp that, or you could use your own writing, or of course, any kind of cutouts from book pages would be awesome also. So, all right, let me just stop and see who's here. Say hello again and check out the comments. And so did I use a hard brush for this painting? Okay, so Maggie, when I use acrylics, I like a firmer brush. I don't like a really soft brush like I do for watercolor. I like something that has a little bit of swing to it. So yeah, I think it wasn't really hard, but it was, let's see if I can, it has some spring. In fact, when I said I was looking for a better brush, I wanted something with a little more stiffness to it than what I got, but it was so small it didn't really matter. So yes, a little tiny Moony person in the driver's seat would be so cute, or you could obviously put a tiny picture. Yes, either Barb's over here picking out stamps for me. So like this peace stamp would be really cute. Adventure Awaits would be really cute. And especially if it was, you know, say you were taking a trip or doing something fun for the holidays instead of staying home and cooking. Anyway, so, you know, so many fun little words that you could add. Oops. If you wanted to, or again, you know, you could find some nice words out of a book page and cut them up and collage them on there. So anyway, pretty fun. You could easily, you know, put a couple holes in this and string some wire and turn it into a little ornament even, or, you know, obviously it's a little piece of Christmas holiday decor. You know, the possibilities are endless, like I always say. So I hope, yeah, Patty Campbell says hi, Barb. She says hi. Yep, Robin, we're gonna try to do a Makey and Let's Get Makey Premium on Sunday morning. I'm trying to convince her, so hopefully we'll do something like that. It's not for sure though, so I'll let you all know. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. I love coming on here every morning at 11 and just getting Makey with all of you. We're off now to go to the store because we're both starving. So have a wonderful day. Thanks again. Don't forget, we are offering buy 2, get 1 free of the Moonlight Duos. So if you don't have all the colors, get them now because you get 1 free. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you and talk to you soon. Mwah. Love you to the moon and back. Bye.